What's up, guys? I just pulled into the grocery store, and like I said, red car on the left, white car pulls in next to it right away, all at the same time. This car right here, that car right here. I got two cars, so I'm just taking this van right now, and it's just like, you can look back here and you can see, this lady just pulls in like she's in her car, see. And they just pull in and surround me with red and white cars. And like, notice in the rear view mirror, I got a white car backing up in back of me. So just look at that. It's just like all this mobbing and activity where they, just position all these cars around me like this, only red and white. And I'm at the grocery store right now before I get out. But I mean, you can see just like all the cars that pull in, and they pull in after I pull in. So it's very strange. It's mobbing, it's hive mind, it's orchestrated, it's organized, it is neural remote monitoring, mind control. That's how they orchestrate all this. See, like, these people just pull in right when I'm here, right when I get into my spot. It's all synchronized, it's all coordinated and organized, and together in unison, they all just flood the parking spots around me. There's a red truck over there just waiting. And so this is just all the time, guys. I just wanted to show you just how they do me. And they probably do you this way too. I wouldn't doubt it. But this is how they do me. And then when I start filming, you guys know, they just, suddenly, distance themselves, or you're filming them and they have to drive away right away. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're just acting like fools, running surveillance, hive-minded, neural remote monitoring, where they are hijacked, and it is endless, mimicking and mirroring and copying your movement in this new world order that's satanic. Love you guys. So they're always surrounding me in a circle, and you notice, like, as soon as I pull in, lots of red and white car activity, and you got this action. You got the red car parked in a weird way over there, just pulling in all at the same time as me, and just pulling in all at the same time as me. Red shirt, and they got some form of red on. It's always some form of red. It's always like some form of red that they wear, or red and white cars. But you can see this lady getting out, just pulling in all fast, red shirt, and they just surround me in red and white. They park at the same time. They don't get out of their cars. They know I'm sitting here, so they sit next to me. When I get out of my car, they mimic me, mirror me, copy my movement, run parallel to me, go in the store with me, and then cause a scene and be like, this guy just hit me, help. And there's all these bodies and activity, and I'm just at the grocery store. I haven't gotten out of my car, but it's the way they roll. And they put a perimeter around the target. Wherever you go, it's the kill box, the kill grid surrounding you, and it's non-stop torture. But all these cars, they park in a weird way, and they just got people rolling by, and it's all to let you know you're being watched, and there's nothing you can do about it. And we see everything that you do. We're 10 steps ahead of you. That's what they like to believe. But I mean, not with God. He keeps delivering me again and again. I'm just testifying to it. This is, I ain't no content creator. I'm here speaking the truth in a real way, getting the message out. And it is authentic. It is genuine. I don't care about likes or numbers or anything like that. I care about the people that are experiencing this. And really, nothing else matters but making people aware that our family members are killing us. They have all agreed together to go after us, to sabotage, to undermine, to destroy, to collapse, to control. And they are all participating in the abuse, thinking that we can't have better or be better. Again, it's just non-stop, guys. Just swarming you. You pull in, the red and white cars pull in and surround you when you park. And that's literally what they do to me. So it's just wild. It's just crazy. And we see this white car over here. You see? And, you know, you'll see the communication. You'll see the hand gestures. You'll see them make obvious, overt signals to each other. And that's just all to get you engaged, you know. They're trying to get your attention, in other words. And they think they're so cute and so funny as they get off on the control and the abuse. You know, they think it's so cute and funny. You know what I mean? And they know I'm filming, so they get busy and start playing a game of musical chairs with their car. You know what I mean? It's the game of musical chairs surrounding you guys. And I'm just telling you, this is like a daily experience. It looks common and ordinary. You see this guy, he just pulls in. I'm like the only one in the parking lot. You see? Yo, what's up, guys? Messenger of the Cross, Pulse Point Media. I just wanted to bring a little attention to this fact that, you know, as a real targeted individual, we suffer not just from the energy weapons and the entrainment and, you know, the signal entrainment to the body, the brain, through these broadcast systems that are in place that all the military contractors talk about, you know, and they have meetings about it all the time. And, you know, they discuss the different patents and the, you know, fake banning of the use of those weapons by different countries. And they just pretend like they're banning them and continue to keep using them against their own citizens, I believe. That's what I'm experiencing. And because one day it's just like a light switch goes off and all of a sudden everybody in your life just becomes hijacked, you know, and that's literally, it's almost like body snatchers in the same way, where the people that you thought you knew, you didn't know at all, you know. And so I just wanted to say that this program, at least what I've found out to be a program customized to me, I basically see the double-sided damage, and wanted to just talk about that a little bit, just about the simple fact that the very environment that they try to create and manufacture through a collapse and control passive-aggressive game of getting a breakdown and getting you under the weight of those breakdowns again and again and again and again, and then to just blame you, to just say that you did it to yourself and that you're mentally unstable, and you know, you need to be you need to have your decisions made for you. I mean, I can't believe you'd ever think that, you know, you're being electrocuted in your own house. How dare you? You know, but like it's like the technological side of this is one aspect, but we know that all the tactics that we have seen done to us as people that have, you know, had this light switch go off, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, people are doing all these behaviors, and it's nonstop, and it's only. And it seems to me like the program is modeled after narcissistic abuse, like the tactics that are used to relate to you are, you know, no empathy, no remorse, no sympathy, pedal to the metal, laughing and rejoicing and celebrating when they can damage you, when they can kill your pets, when they can get away with just hurting you with one manufactured crisis after the next that they try to engage you and involve you in. You know what I mean? It's all about wrapping you up again and again and again in one crisis after the next, so that you can be of no influence. All your energy and your power and your time are going to pretty much go to surviving the pulling of the rug, which is done against your will and against your good choices. You know what I mean? And the natural course of things, the natural nature of things doesn't play out ever, because you've got these people in competition and they are competing with tactics that really only narcissists do. You know what I mean? So they're all pretty much hive-minded, narcissistic psychopaths that have no remorse, no empathy, no sympathy. They do not care about the damage they cause or hold themselves accountable or responsible for, not thinking. You know what I mean? It's like all I have to do is think and say, if somebody comes to me and they appear to be an authority figure, and I'm going to ask for layers of proof. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to just, jump the gun and, pretend to be a hero and a savior in this grandiose delusion that's offered, where the person, has their pride played against them and they are being manipulated this way. Like, you could have anything if you just, can be the savior and the hero of the neighborhood. And we'll give you whatever it takes, and then they always get the short end of the stick when they realize they're hooked in this program as perps and should have chosen the other side of the fence, just because, it's going to be like a double whammy for them, and they don't want to get caught. So they would rather just, quietly eliminate you and do it in your own house. And this isn't a joke. This is real. And all the tactics of intermittent reinforcement, yes, no, mine, yours, up, down. They take you up, they take you down, they take you up, they take you down. And it's all done deliberately to get you to be broken. But basically, this is the same as, long-term narcissistic abuse can, I just was looking at this headline right here, can cause brain damage, okay? And that's MK Ultra traumatic abuse. That's basically, ambushing you, surprising you all the time, manipulating, lying pathologically, collapsing and controlling, playing both sides of the fence, and pretending to be for a person when you're deep down inside, you have this immature, infantile envy that you can't get rid of in competition, comparing and competing like a mad person. You know what I mean? And there's no getting through to you. You know what I mean? To the perps, there's no getting through to them. They are sworn against, the people that they select as a group, to target with the mob and basically terrorize the targeted individual every day. But this gaslighting constantly, and the pictures taken, the following you, the coming and going with you at the same time as you, the mimicking and mirroring you, really is a symptom of people, realizing that, nobody's home. We've realized that with these people, that nobody's there, nobody's home. Something hijacks them, something gets in their eyes, and they disappear. And we've seen it before. We've seen it a million times. And I'm not saying I know exactly what's going on. Besides, the person's identity is gone, of who you thought they were. And, they are, they don't even realize when they're being hijacked and controlled. And it's like, it's just terrible. But they are fully controlled people, NPC people that don't ever think for themselves. And that's why they in a form of worship, they give that right, that God-given right to decide over to an authority figure, over to a power structure that promises them, safety. And what they don't realize is the very people that are causing the problem are posing as the savior to the problem. And that's part of it. But I mean, like all the tactics that we go through with property damage and, breaking our boundaries all the time, whether it's getting in your car, getting in your house with no forced entry and moving your stuff around, cutting your clothes, doing all those kinds of things that they do. And you're the only one that has the keys and you're scratching your head wondering, how did they get in my car? How did they get in my house? They timed the abuse perfectly. And, and it's just all designed to make the person hurt themselves. And that's keeping things safe to these people. Because that's why war is peace, freedom is slavery. They've just completely been inverted and do not think at all. And in their actions, in their behavior, in the tactics that I'm experiencing, there's like a model of specific tactics that continue to be used against me, at least in relationship to my experience. And I can't speak for everyone, but it's all about putting the pressure on you to make you lash out, to make you do something, to make you do violence. It's constant crossing your path, constant escalation of contact that's forced and unwanted. And they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, whether it's keying your car, whether it's putting notes on your car, whether it's getting in your car. It's all done at the same time to try to break you and to try to hurt you and harm you. And this is what I'm talking about how even family members have these characteristics, these, like if there were 10 out of 10 things that make you a narcissist abuser with no conscience, because you're able to shift roles, you're able to, with no shame, with no guilt, you're able to just take on different identities and like a chameleon, slither all around into one identity, into the next, into the next, into the next, so that you never get caught doing the abuse, hiding the abuse that way, hiding the fact that, you're wanting to damage somebody else and are getting off on it and love it and feel good about it. And it makes you feel, superior and powerful and makes you feel in control. And that's the level of immaturity that we're dealing with when it comes to those that torture us and, get off on the breakdown and the collapse of everything we're standing on, and not stopping until they get a bad reaction. You see, they will not let you escape the conflict. They will not let you get out of or adjust yourself. And they like watching you, in the probabilities as those still exist and you maneuver yourself. They like watching those probabilities vanish till you're at zero. And then you can't defend yourself at all from the attacks because everything is tied up and spent up under layers of broken. But this is what they do, and they are organized, they are coordinated, and they are like an army of people that have been trained, I think, in some degree. It's like I just think technology controls them fully and they've given themselves over to it. But this is the type of character that we're going to see with these perps. This is, at least in my case. And look at the serious nature of how narcissistic abuse can cause brain damage. Okay. And then this is just an article about how the hippocampus gets damaged in the brain, and same with different parts of the brain. And you can go check this out. This is psychcentral.com. And I'm not even into psychology, really. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, I think modern science is way off. I think quantum physics is off as well. Like, we don't know the way this fluid reality works, I want to say, as we should. You know what I mean? And there are all kinds of things happening that make me believe that. But it says right here, like, narcissistic abuse changes your brain. Okay. They're not just trying to damage us with energy weapons and frequencies. They're trying to use tactics specifically that only cause pain and damage and harm and damage to the brain, literally in a physical way. That's what this trauma and crisis management causes. When someone is always pushing to get a breakdown in your life and pushing on those things that you're standing on, it's really hard to maintain a level emotional state unless you let go of those things and just trust God. And that's how I get through the stress of it, of them damaging everything and harming everything and making me start over in this 2 steps forward, 2 steps back dance for years, where you can't get free from the adjustments you make. They take away all those possibilities and let you know it and taunt you over it all the time. But so we're going through this, and I'm just sharing there's different resources and what to do. But it talks about how narcissistic abuse changes the brain. I just wanted to show that article, and that all the tactics that they use are basically found in narcissistic abuse. I just think they model the program and the tactics used that only manipulative, covert, and malignant and sadistic people would do and do naturally. And I think those are all the perps that do this naturally and have no problem with it. And it's like second nature to them to manipulate, to lie, to cheat, to steal, to have no guilt about it, to have no shame, to have no remorse about hurting somebody else just to get ahead, to get position, to get power, to get whatever it is, and it's just really a deep immaturity. And this just talks about, how, and this is traumaAwareAmerica.org up here. And I was just showing this because it's like, brain under siege, narcissistic abuse and its lasting effects. And it talks about on the body and your overall being and the tactics of gaslighting, manipulating, lying, collapsing, controlling, all these things we talk about, damage to our property. Like this is happening 24/7 to us. And this is the goal of creating such hostility and trauma in your environment. And it's to damage your brain. It's to damage your brain. That's literally, and this is just the physical side of having constant, adrenaline rushes to the body, just constant cortisol production because of the surprise and the ambush that they create, and always making you have to relate to something painful. And they do it all the time. But and there is definitely a nature to narcissistic abuse, and it's different than just one-on-one abuse. I mean, we're talking about, the person plays the victim of you and has the ability to manipulate other people and direct them against you with perfection and with total submission. And you're just wondering how they're able to do that. You know what I mean? But, effects on the brain and the nervous system. Narcissistic abuse triggers a chronic stress response in the victim. And I was just talking about that, but all the adrenals go off the charts, elevated cortisol, you start packing on weight around your midsection because of that cortisol production, and it messes up your blood sugar. That's why all this stress, all this depression and anxiety and waiting for the other shoe to drop and walking on eggshells as you're wondering when the next painful ordeal is going to grip you. And each adjustment that you're going to make out of that is what creates the desperation when they undermine that adjustment, when they come in and not only just abuse the original item or relationship or whatever it may be, but take it a step farther by making sure that the weight of it comes on you and that it forces you to be wasted. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's why they do it. But this is all effects on the brain and the nervous system of just plain old tactics that are used that narcissistic abusers use. And that's pretty much what the perps are all engaged in. They are sadists. They get off on it. They enjoy it. They get pleasure from secretly torturing people. And this is the type of person I'm talking about. And it may be different in your guys' life. I don't know. I'm just speaking for my experience, for me, and what I've been put through. And the types of people that they have surround me all the time to use as weapons against me by their actions. And like I've always said, death by 1,000 cuts so that it can't be detected and noticed, but they let you know what they're doing as they surround you as a target and collapse everything in your life. And they taunt you and let you know it, and it has social and relational effects. I mean, to go through these intermittent times, where it's yes, no, mine, yours, back, forth. I remember that. I don't remember that, up, down, and around until you give up on your own thinking and just allow the Borg system to hijack you. But this is just more about these narcissistic, psychopathic abusers that are our perps. And basically, that's what I think they are. And it's like another article, neurolaunch.com, narcissistic abuse.
and brain damage, the hidden neurological consequences. Okay, so this is just an article about, and I'm not going to go through all this and read this, but you can look at the headings and check it out. And it's just really interesting about how they talk about the brain and what parts of the brain that the constant tactics that are being used against us cause, and it causes brain damage. And there's a lot of evidence for this, especially with, trauma-based mind control victims. But, and so this is just another article that talks about this and how narcissistic abuse and gang stalking, because of the triangulation that these people, they just are able to really manipulate others and triangulate third parties to involve them in the abuse, because they're telling those third parties, I'm a victim of this person. You got to help me. You got to save me. I'm in danger, and playing out this act and this performance to try to, get other people to, preempt and go after the victim, without the victim doing or saying anything, just being a threat to the mask, being a threat to the fake self, being a threat to the game that's being played, and the fake friendships and everything else that, you're recognizing and waking up to, So, and then we have another article, and it is aconsciousrethink.com. And it's just another article about 11 ways narcissistic abuse slowly rewires your brain and behavior, and how to reverse the damage. Because it is damaging. It is damaging to have constant interjects that are infiltrating your mind to try to warp and corrupt and to try to disturb and make you anxious. And, it's all these thoughts that are really not yours, but can happen because of this type of abuse in the person that's a victim of it. And as well, like just with the directed speech and all the other tactics and just the technological side of them beaming voices through the microwave auditory hearing effect. That's a form of torture, and syncing you up with others and neural remote monitoring and torturing you with people that are the complete opposite of you, and their brainwave signatures show it, so to speak. And they just link you up with that person and torture you that way. Or I should say 20 people, 20 to 1 to wear you out, and they're on shifts to wear you out. I mean, it's just on and on. But they talk about the erosion of trust in yourself to make good decisions, because those are being criticized, those are being damaged, those are being harmed. But all these tactics of narcissistic abuse are seen and cause brain damage. Okay, and major brain damage. And so it's not just that this is, giving us brain damage from radiating us to death, like they're doing with the technologies. But at the same time, they are also, structuring these programs, this hive mind group that is like mob rule and controlled like an army, that they are all acting as if they are all one, and they are acting as if they are narcissistic, manipulative abusers that get off on pain and misery and sorrow and suffering. That's what I'm trying to say. And they are all too happy when they can damage your loved ones, when they can damage you and brain damage you by doing this to you over and over for 25 years straight with no rest. Just you fighting to try to survive. You thought it was the breaks of life. You thought life was just so hard for no reason. And then all of a sudden you started waking up and seeing, behind the curtain, so to speak. But these effects of narcissistic abuse, this article just talks about the brain damage that it causes. Okay, the tactics, gaslighting, the cognitive problems that start to arise. And this is just a form of torture, is all I'm trying to say, is abusing us with these tactics so that when you complain about it, you look like the crazy one, because they've already thought about your complaining about it and modeled the program, or modeled whatever program you're under, to be customized to you. You know what I mean? And keep adjusting that so that, it's just always 2 steps ahead of you. But here again is another article about healing brain damage from narcissistic abuse. Okay. Brain damage. Okay. And cognitive and emotional recovery. And these are just the key takeaways in this article. But it just talks about, again, the brain damage that's involved in that these tactics just socially can cause. Okay, it can cause brain damage. Neuroscience explains how a narcissist can control our brain. And this is like literally through the hijacking and trauma-based mind control, which I believe these people are under, neural remote monitoring, hive-minded EMF, all synced up together. And just the desire to want to control others, through brainwave activity. It's mind control is what it is. And so this article talks more about how the brain damage causes a hijacking, okay? And I'm not going to go through it. I just want to show some of these articles. The independentspiritualist.com. Can you get brain damage from narcissistic abuse, understanding the long-term effects and healing? Think about that. Okay, and this whole article is talking about the damage and brain damage, potential for brain damage. Chronic stress associated with narcissistic abuse can lead to structural changes in the brain, okay? Literally the hippocampus size shrinking, I believe it is. And, it's on and on and on. And the whole program, at least that I'm experiencing, has to do with brain damaging me. And I'm sure that you people out there have had similar experiences where they try to brain damage you. And this is what they do. They try to attach these people to us. And they force us to have to relate to these people that are only capable and able of behaving this way, in a way that's toxic, in a way that is corrupt and evil. And just pretending in an act, in a performance, clearly, and we just strip those masks and that cloak right from you. And we don't even try. It's just part of the gifts that we have, it's part of the light, shining that light. It makes all the darkness, light up, and they get afraid and they run and they hide and they ghost and they vanish and they collapse and they control and they break and they destroy and they have temper tantrums. Like literally that's what I see the enemies doing. And I was just going to play a couple of videos really quick about the brain damage that can be caused. And I don't really listen to these people. I don't know them too much. So let's see if this video plays. And let me start it over.
Neurological changes within our brain. So
let me start it over really quick. And it's a short vid. She's making the same point I'm making.
Did you know that the trauma of narcissistic abuse can cause physiological changes within our brain? So in our brain, right here, this is our limbic system, our emotional brain, and it contains two structures called the hippocampus and the amygdala. Now, the hippocampus is our long-term memory center. It timestamps things into the past. And what happens during the trauma of narcissistic abuse is it starts to shrink, and we can start to have forgetfulness, memory loss, and brain fog.
Oh, no big deal. That's just quite all right. You know what I mean? Just no big deal. Every day we're just exhausted because these people try to wear us down, wear us out in this active, very dynamic, very well-energized dance, basically, that they're playing with us.
Can you relate to that? And then the amygdala increases in size, and this is almost like our smoke detector within the brain, literally scanning for those cues of danger. But what happens is it becomes so hypervigilant, things that we would normally be able to cope with suddenly seem like great big life events, and that can...
That's not just totally true. Once the nervous system is broken, once they succeed in doing that to you through torture, like basically she's talking about how, you're just going to be in that reactive mode. And that's, they customize this abuse to make you react to everything. It's, that's what I mean. Each person has their part in death by 1,000 cuts, taking a swipe at you. Okay. And you're alone, you're isolated, you have no way out, and they just keep making us as targets just relive any trauma that they found out about, they just make us relive it and repeat it and repeat it. And they want to repeat it on us and make us relive the experience of the worst pains we've ever gone through and make us go through it again and again. And anyway, like I just wanted to play that quick part, and let me turn this up really quick and see if I can.
The brain damage that's sustained by the victim due to narcissistic abuse is a direct result of all of the narcissist fuckery. Narcissists cause so much chaos that the victim of narcissistic abuse is left with tremendous amounts of stress, anxiety, panic attacks, depression. This causes the body to produce up to 300% more cortisol than that of the average.
And like literally that's like the physiology behind the stress of the constant pressure of a breakdown and an intentional breakdown that we know is coming again and again and again because of what these people are doing. And it is hard to deal with, and it is something that I force myself to get outside. I force myself to go on walks. I force myself, no matter what they're doing to me, because I just live in the face of them. You know what I mean? And I can't control whether or not they're going to keep in step with me, but I think it's funny that they can never quite be me. They can never quite steal and hijack my identity, even though they try again and again and again through getting me to step into a role and making that role, basically illustrate I'm less than, you're greater than, hurting myself so that you can shine brighter and look better, but it's all fake. It's all on their part, just complete manipulation. They don't want to pay the price through the fire to get what we've got in terms of that shine. And they just want to steal it and hijack it. And that goodness that came from the wisdom and going through different experiences and really just God speaking to us and working in us, even when, we thought he forsook us and we thought he left us, but he was there all along, and he proves himself and shows himself and manifests himself as the solution to everything. Okay. And that's literally the way I see it. But this guy right here, I just wanted to show this quick clip about the body damage, the brain damage that these kind of tactics of abuse and control cause. And let's see what this says.
But how? Well, let's begin with the hippocampus. This is the part of the brain is responsible for learning and memory. When you're exposed to constant emotional manipulation, gaslighting, and psychological stress, the hippocampus becomes overwhelmed. Cortisol, the stress hormone, floods the brain during abuse, and chronic overexposure to cortisol literally shrinks the hippocampus. What does that mean for you? Forgetfulness, brain fog, difficulty at retaining new information, short-term memory issues. Many survivors report feeling like they're losing their minds, but in reality, it's their brain trying to survive prolonged psychological trauma. Next up is the amygdala, the part of your brain that detects threats and activates your fight, flight, or freeze response. In a healthy brain, it helps protect.
And literally, guys, that's where they want to keep you. They want to keep you redlined and 24/7. They want you to act out of that as your logic goes down and your reason goes down. And, you're just like in fight or flight, which is natural response to calamity and trauma coming and finding you and getting a hold of you. And each adjustment you make to try to get away from it, and to try to handle it or resolve it is met with further competition and a sacrifice game as they offer up your ability to combat them. And that is what they do again and again and again on repeat. And something has changed drastically socially, but I just wanted to play this video. And I just wanted to talk about how, as a targeted individual, these are the people, the types of people. They're very robotic. They're NPCs. They don't think for themselves. They're very immature when it comes to their emotional state. They're literally like 3-year-olds that have temper tantrums because they're that entitled. They're that entitled. And they feel like they own us. That's what they feel. They feel that we're their property, that they can do whatever they want because they're never going to get caught. They let you know that again and again and again. I'm talking about the perps and the informants and the rats and the snitches that surround you and always have a problem with you. And, you know, you can go to the store and be surrounded, and they'll follow you into the store and get out when you get out of your car and tail you into the store and then start screaming that you did something to them. It's all about involving the community in this kind of street theater performance. We're going to agree together that we're victims and make up things because this guy's not giving us anything, you know, and that's what they do. But I just wanted to come to you today, guys, and tell you guys I love you, man. Love all of you that come in, check it out, check out the videos. I just wanted to really talk about the brain damage that is caused, not just on the technological side, but just at the base element of this and the physical bodies that are around us that have become the human prison bars, those people that are controlled and used against us. And I'm just talking about the type of people that they are. They have no empathy, they have no remorse, they have no sympathy, they have no care. And they are sold out to getting what they want when they want it. And they stomp their feet and they roll their eyes and shake their heads when, you know, their plan to hurt you doesn't come to pass. And they snap their fingers and say shucks when they can't get a breakdown because the Holy Spirit reveals something to you that they're going to do and then let you know before it even happens by talking to you and telling you that it's going to happen. And I mean, I'm just saying I have learned to discern the difference between the Holy Spirit and the Holy Spirit's voice. My sheep know my voice, between another voice imitating and masquerading and pretending to be the voice of the Holy Spirit. And I just think God gives us the power and the awareness is what I'm saying. I think that, you know, they try to convince us that, you know, we came from monkeys and basically, you know, we're evolving to something greater when you look around and you see it's like this evolving into something like a monstrous thing, something that socially speaking is the total end of free association. You see, it's important to have free association, meaning you can relate to who you need to and who you want to and who wants to relate to you. But they want to control all of that. And that's part of what the gang stalking is all about. It's to neutralize potential threats of people that can think for themselves. And basically is what I think. And I just wanted to share that, you know, there's such a parallel to the tactics that narcissists do because they take the moral high ground prior to letting you in on the big game and trick they're playing. They go around slandering you to third parties and smile in your face until they get enough third parties on their side, and they just get off on directing these third parties against you. And, you know, just sending them like weaponizing them and making them angry and upset and making these people feel like they need to save the day. And that is taking advantage of somebody's ego, taking and manipulating somebody's base instincts to be somebody important, whatever. And taking advantage of that and manipulating that base instinct to, you know, protect people, to keep people safe, so to speak, in a real way, not just using that as an excuse to abuse people. Because that's basically what we go through as targeted individuals. We are, you know, getting nowhere because nobody wants to take the concerns and the report. You know, if you make a report about the interactions that keep happening, it just makes you look crazy. So they've designed the program, in other words, at least with me, knowing in advance the reactions you will have to their abuse. And you will talk about it, you will tell people about it, and that makes you look crazy because the very defining of what they're doing makes the target look crazy because it's been crafted that way with a well thought out, systematic way of taking the moral high ground. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they take the moral high ground by embedding the denial in the abuse tactics themselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to break down. That when you define those tactics that you're seeing in your life, like people coming in your house with no forced entry, it makes you look crazy. See, so they've already customized the abuse so that when you complain about it and talk about it, you look like the crazy one. This is what I mean about them taking the moral high ground and poisoning the well before the word go. They're already 10 steps ahead, poisoning the well, playing the victim of you, getting third parties to do their dirty work. All of this is melded together. And at least in my case, I just wanted to show these videos that it can cause brain damage to have these tactics used on you alone, not just the technology and the EMF and the broadcast and the radiation poisoning. It's not just that, but the experience of these really, I would say, military style tactics of abuse and control that are well thought out because we see the plausible deniability. So when we complain about it, the tactics themselves are designed to be unbelievable so that when the target complains, it makes the target look sensational and crazy. We get that. That's why it's so hard to talk about these things. Because when you say people are following me around and red and white cars are surrounding me all the time, people are taking my picture, it makes you look like you're having delusions of grandeur and you're being like, like a famous person when you're not famous. It makes us also look crazy when we're looking for reasons all the time. I just settle right away. I'm like, I don't care what the reason. It should never be done. Torturing somebody to death covertly and secretly should never be done. Like, I don't care if a person is even a criminal, they shouldn't be tortured to death. That's what I'm saying. So like to justify and excuse it and say we're keeping people safe by undermining the person's ability to stand on their own. That's, and then just, writing that person off because you don't like them and just getting rid of them, eliminating them, taking away what sustains that person's life, and then blaming that person and saying, hey, look at this guy did it to himself. Look at how crazy and how mentally ill and how wild this guy is. And they have role reversed again and again and again. They invite you in and then they get the breakdown and the collapse to happen, especially, and they do it again and again, repeat, and then you're left cleaning up the mess that they transfer on you as they run and ghost and vanish and do it again from a distance. Anyway, I'm just saying that this is me just ranting on and on right now at this point. And guys, I just wanted to say Messenger of the Cross, Pulse Point Media, check out some of the videos. I'm just going through this and I'm not preparing. It's not a script. I'm not here as a content creator, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm just speaking the truth and trying to reach out to other people to give of myself, my strengths, my time, my energy to where it matters, And, time is short and I genuinely, am just there because I love the truth and want other people to be made aware that are going through these kind of things, that there is a process to go through, but at the same time, we're in this pretty much together, this torture and this harm that they're doing. And we watch them destroy our families. We've watched them collapse all our associations and let us know it. And if they weren't mocking and grandstanding and doing all those things afterwards on top of the injury that they cause the insult, and then they add insult to injury by doing it even more and more and more. They don't know when to stop, and they want a breakdown. They want something to get broken, and then they want you to wrestle them over fixing it as they continue to keep blocking you and getting in your way to fix it. And they just want you dependent. And we are not like that. And we just are confessing this, telling you this, you know, because this is like not just me trying to like have a channel. I'm sitting here trying to talk about very real, authentic stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm authentic, and I'm more into seeing and hearing people's stories, and I care more about relationships and more about people, you know, than, you know, like I feel like a lot of people that try to capitalize on this and just turn it into a topic. I'm not like that. You know, this is my real experience. This is my life. This is free flowing from the heart, and I'm not prepared. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just free flowing from the heart, talking about all this stuff. And I just wanted to share this today, guys, just about the brain damage that these tactics of abuse and control, the brain damage that can happen just from the behavior done by those that surround us, that are perps and informants and rats and snitches and people of that kind. And the way they behave, the way they act, it's all the same. And they are in unison as this single body of a narcissist, basically. And they all are expressing themselves in that way, as a covert, malignant, sadistic narcissist with no regard for human life. And so I love you guys, and God bless, and stay strong.